I'm not making any money. This is for educational purposes only. Fair use. Fair use. Yeah. Barakatah Yahawah. Barakatah Yahawashi. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa QaDash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preacher in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To you sisters, Yahawah, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Ram Yahawah with the lesson. And I just asked, have ancient Egypt ever flooded?
Yes, ancient Egyptians experienced annual floods from the Nile River. These floods were vital, providing fertile soil for farming, creating the Black Land. However, they could also be destructive, leading to societal challenges, so they developed monitoring systems.
Right, but then you got a thing called, what they call it, God, right? The finger of God, these type of things, something extraordinary, right? Out of the ordinary, right? Which is happening now from Washington all the way down through Oregon, all the way down into California to Southern California, from Northern California down to Southern California, flooding. That's crazy. It's definitely a sign. But people, even right now, no one's looking at it. Dang, that must mean the Lord is coming back. That must be the second coming of the Messiah, right? We better repent. We better get our life together. Whatever, blase blah. But and that's how they look at it, blase blah. They just, they're just going on, the mundane lifestyle, right? No fear of Yahawah BaHaSham Yahawashi, or what they call God and Jesus, right? Right? They don't even fear that. So yeah, so this is NBC News. Floods. 1 killed in California as heavy rain and flooding threatens part of the state over the holidays. Amid major flooding and torrential rain, 1 dead was confirmed Sunday during water rescue in Redding. Yeah, so this is they did a just update December 2nd, 2022, 2025. So December 22, 2025. It says at least 1 person was dead in Redding, California because of torrential rain and significant flooding as the state braced for worsening conditions this week.
Travel coast to coast.
I don't know if we're going to make it.
Parts of the West Coast slam with torrential rain and flooding. In Redding, California, authorities say a driver died after their car got stuck in rising waters. The mayor saying that person had called 911 for help, but their phone died. By the time police officers arrived, it was too late.
We had our police swimming through the water, breaking the glass of the vehicle, pulling the victim out of the vehicle. It was just really unfortunate the victim just didn't make it.
Across the region, first responders making multiple water rescues. Here, seen swimming out to a submerged vehicle. Sheriffs also responding to trap residents in rural areas by jet ski, where in some places the water was chest deep. Even these goats needing rescue. And look at this. The force of the storm so strong it caused a deluge of water to erupt from an oversaturated drain. The powerful storm also hitting the Sierra Nevada.
Right now, there's probably about a foot of water.
Firefighters rescued multiple people, including children, stuck in this rental home outside Tahoe. You can see them climbing on a ladder extending over the floodwaters to get to safety. Among those bracing for a deluge, San Francisco, where almost all of the power is finally back on after that massive blackout over the busy pre-holiday weekend that brought the city to a standstill. Videos show self-driving Waymo cars stalling in the streets, unable to navigate the downed traffic lights. The company temporarily suspending service. The cause of the electrical fire that led to at least some of the outages is still unknown. Meanwhile, across the country, some 122 million Americans are estimated to travel this holiday season on the roads and in the air, hoping to get out in time.
All right, Liz joins us now live from LAX. Liz, we'll get to those delays in a moment, but I know you have some breaking news tonight. LA is now announcing evacuation orders ahead of the storm.
Yeah, Tom, the city has announced isolated evacuation orders starting tomorrow for some of the areas impacted by the fires earlier this year. As for airports across the country, well, today there have been just scattered cancellations and delays. With that storm moving in, it could be a much different picture tomorrow. Tom?
Yeah, so this is ABC 7. It says SoCal, which stands for Southern California. Right, weather update. Storm expected to bring heavy rain, high risk of flash flooding for some. It's Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025, 3:12 Mountain Standard. Right? So that just happened. Yeah. That's just happened. Cause it's like 3:22 right now. And I'm in Arizona, so I'm Mountain Standard Time, so yeah. So that just happened. This just okay. Yeah, it says evacuation warnings are in effect as Southern California prepares for several inches of rainfall, strong winds, and possible mudslides through Christmas. An atmospheric river, right, which means that this cloud that's coming has a lot of water in it, right? And basically it's like unprecedented, you know, like some finger of God type stuff, right? Right, because it's basically it's not normal. And it says will slam California during Christmas week, bringing heavy rain and flash floods. Concerns across LA, Orange, San Bernardino, Riverside, Ventura counties. This is communities are prepared for storm, right? Right, because I believe this is I believe Esau, right? Allegedly, Edom, these Edomites, I believe they have one of those heart machines over in Hawaii, and I believe that's why it was able to build up so much water in the air. You know what I mean? Because they have a bunch of military things over in Hawaii. It says, right here, nicknamed the Pineapple Express since it is coming from Hawaii. Yeah, see, I figured that, man. The storm is set to arrive Tuesday. Oh, that's today. To rain, picking up at night until Wednesday. So we're going to see what happens between tonight, I guess, and tomorrow. So I guess I'm going to have to do another lesson on this. National Weather Services up parts of Southern California to a high risk for extensive rainfall and flash flooding on Christmas Eve. High risk areas just north of the city of LA, and just, yep. So let's see what this guy got to say real quick. See if I can...
Particularly since snow levels are expected to remain above 8,000 feet. That means that mountain communities will see rain runoff instead of snow. That's especially concerning in areas impacted by those recent burn scars. Now, despite the less than ideal Christmas forecast, many holiday travelers I spoke to are already here in the mountains, hoping that the storm doesn't dampen their holiday plans.
We're buckling down now for the storm, getting all of our groceries and getting back to the cabin and hunkering down.
I would love a white Christmas. That would be great.
The kids would love that.
Yes, they would.
And Caltrans posting on their Twitter feed that it's a Christmas miracle, but they will be reopening Highway 38, which was washed out in this last storm we had back in September. They're going to have Highway 38 reopened, they say, as a soft opening tomorrow starting at 4:30, and they hope to have it as a potential extra evacuation route just in case with this storm headed our way. And as you can see, visibility is definitely reduced. So if you are going to be driving in the mountains, not only do you need to have your chains, even though they're not expecting snow, but because visibility is reduced, you got to be very careful when you're up here. Reporting live here in Crestline, Leticia Juarez, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Good advice. Okay, Leticia, thank you.
+7. In ancient Egypt, the Nile's annual floods brought life-giving silt but also posed threats, with extreme high waters and rains sometimes destroying mud-brick homes, irrigation systems, dikes, channels, livestock, and causing disease, especially on the floodplains, leading to famine and unrest, prompting Egyptians to develop nilometers and basin irrigation to manage this powerful, dual-edged force of nature. How floods affected infrastructure. Destruction by overflooding. When the Nile's waters rose too high, they could wash away villages, livestock, and vital agricultural works like earthen dikes and irrigation channels, requiring constant rebuilding.
Yeah, so this is Exodus chapter 9, verse 23. And Moses stretched forth his rod towards heaven, and Yahawah, right? Because that's what it is, all caps, right? Which is the Father, the Most High, the Ancient of Days, right? And of course, Yahawashi, his son, was also there in the chariot, in the fathership, right? Leading the Israelites through all these things right here that was going on, making these things happen, right? Yahawashi and the angels came to deliver the Israelites out of Egypt. So this is just, a reflection of ancient Egypt, but this modern day spiritual Egypt is going to take a beating also, right? And that's what's happening. It says, in Yahawah, right, through his only begotten son, which is Yahawashi, sent thunders and hail, right, which is like a form of rain, and fire ran along upon the ground. And yeah, that's a whole different type of everything. I mean, that in itself lets you know he's the Most High. That is right. And Yahawah, right, through his only begotten son, which is Yahawashi, rain hell upon the land of Egypt, right? Which this is spiritual Egypt, which is America. It says Moses stretched out his staff towards the sky, and Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, QaDash, thundered and hail, lightning, fireballs. I like that. I like that breakdown right there. Yeah, fireballs ran down to the earth and along with the ground, right? Because because this place is gonna be, one part is flooding, other part's gonna be on fire, other parts are gonna be tumults and riots, other parts just hurricanes. And hey, bro, this place is gonna get, the Lord's about to hand this place to business, man. And Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, QaDash, rained hail upon the land of Egypt, which spiritually America is Egypt. So there were hail and fire mingled with hail, very grievous, which as these there was none like it all in all the land, right, of Egypt, since it became a nation. Yeah, and that's what's going to happen now. You've never seen that. Literally flooding from Washington to Oregon, all the way down into Northern California, and then a rain is finna. So it's literally the entire West Coast, right? Which that's why I put that thing in showing that the West Bank, where it had even though had that fertile land, but when the water or like what they said, an atmospheric river would come through, something more than just a normal, monsoon or whatever you call it, comes through, it's gonna fill it all up and destroy infrastructure, all sorts of things, right? It's a danger, right? So it happened in Egypt, and you have to know that this is beyond your normal scope. Even though these are self-inflicted, some of this stuff is self-inflicted, right? It doesn't matter. Yahawah, nothing could happen without Yahawah's approval, right? And he approves of this, right? Like they do. I am so and so, and I approve of this message. That's the Lord's sentiment. He approves of the message of people dropping dead, because no one perishes being innocent, right? Right. So, and no one perishes without the Most High's consent. So there was hail and lightning, fireballs flashing And then what they say, it was a fat flash flood, flashing tormentally, right? In the midst of the extremely heavy hell, right? Just like this is about to be extremely heavy rain, right? And then, hell is just basically water in itself, right? It's just wasn't melted. But, the Lord can make it where it's no ice, or he can make it just water, right? Just like they were saying, normally those people experience snow, which snow is basically water, but instead of making it snow, it's rain, right? Such as had not been in all the land of Egypt since it became a nation, right? It's never, and that's the thing that's never happened to America since it became a nation. Maybe it happened prior to America's existence, but funny how we're right around the corner to their 250th anniversary birth date of this country, and most empires, majority empires, be dissolved by their 250. They don't go on much longer than 250 years, and we're there now, right? Yeah, so this is Deuteronomy chapter 32 verse 29. It says, "See now that I," right, which is talking about the Most High, Yahawah, through his only begotten Son, which is Yahawashi. That's why we speak and we pray. We face the east toward the temple, and we pray unto Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa QaDash, that I, even I, am He, right? He, meaning He, the existing one. Yahawah, He is the existing one, right? He exists, right? The power, right? And there is no power with me, right? Not even Yahawashi is, he even said, my Father is greater than I. That's thus the title Most High, right? Yahawashi is high, but Yahawah is most high, right? But Yahawashi is willing to do his Father's law, statutes, and commandments, right? He agrees with them. He embodies it, right? Right? So much so that he is the volume of the book, because he's the only soul that ever lived on the earth and kept all the laws and kept all the statutes, and then died as an unjust man, right? To make a purchase for the elect, to redeem, to be a redeemer, right? Right? So that way his name, a nomen omen, right? Yeah, he saves. Yahawashi, he saves, or he is salvation, right? Right? So, hey, man, you can't get any better than this. But the Father, I am He, and there is no power, right, with me. There's no one above Yahawah, right? Are there other gods? Yeah, Yahawashi is a god. The angels are God. The Israelites are gods, right? Even the made up gods that the Lord gave them, those are gods as far as people worship him, and they fulfilled the desire of their heart, which is a bunch of vanity. But nonetheless, the true power will be Yahawah, and there's nobody else, right? And all the other angels with Yahawashi and Michael will put you to the test, and he will send you, because I kill and I make alive, right, through the angels, left hand and the right hand. The Lord controls it all. He controls the demons, right? Just like he's telling you there, he controls death and he controls life. He controls the demons. He controls the right-handed angels, right? I wound, right? And I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. So, Lord willing, you're in that. Oh, matter of fact, none could deliver out of my hand. Hey, that's pretty much what the Lord said. I'm gonna come back here so I can read the Amplified version, but that just gave me a thought scripture, because that's what Yahawashi said. Yeah, so this is John chapter 10 verse 27. It says, "My sheep hear my voice," which is Yahawashi. You can't get through the Father but through Yahawashi. And know me. And I know them, and they follow me, right? Right? So Yahawashi knows who you are. And they follow me. And I gave unto them everlasting life, and they shall never perish. Right? See, the Lord has the ability for you not to perish. Right? And in certain situations, the Lord can deliver you, but then certain situations the Lord might want to see your faith, right? You got to think of the brothers that will be martyrs, be beheaded, but then it's still like you never tasted death, because when you rise, you'll be the first to be in the chariots, the first to get the new bodies. And death is just sleep, right? Absent from the body is present with the Lord. And we plan on getting a new body anyway. You don't need that old body. But the Lord did say some of you that's here should not taste of death. So this is a very exciting times that we're living in, right? Right? The Lord is going to put these devils to the test. And you too. The Lord said the Lord tries the hearts, right? So, but the elect shall make it, right? Neither shall any man, right, which of the elect, pluck them out of my hand. See, you're not gonna be able to pluck the elect out of Yahawashi's hand. But if it was somehow possible, that's why the scriptures say, if it were possible, they would deceive the very elect. But it's not possible. It says, my Father, which gave them me. So these men, God gave them to me. The Father gave them to me. Yahawah, the Most High, gave them to me. My Father, the Abba Nawa, Yahawah, which gave them me, is greater than all, right? Even himself. See? And no man is able to pluck them out of my Father's hand. Right? And I and my Father are one, which just means they're in agreement, right? It just means if I'm in a tight jam, my Father is going to come and help me, right? He's going to take my side, right? Yeah, so this is Matthew chapter 10, verse 28. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him, right? The Most High, Yahawah, who's able to kill what? Kill and make alive. Who could make rich and make poor, right? You got to fear him, right? Which even Yahawashi himself said that he is above all, which was talking about even above himself. That's why you must go through Yahawashi to get to the Father. Well, ain't Yahawashi Melchizedek? Ain't Yahawashi the high priest? How did you get to the Father? ain't it through the high priest? So it only makes sense that he's the door, right? Which is able, right, to destroy both soul and body in hell, right? And hell is the grave, but it's also a condition, which that's where we're in, right? We're in this condition called bondage, slavery. And this is hell, right? And yeah, the Lord is about to destroy even 2/3 of his own people, right? So you have to fear him, right? You know, it says, are 2 sparrows sold for a farthing, and one of them shall not fall on the ground without your Father. So it's almost like Yahawashi was giving the disciples a pep talk, you know, kind of reminding them, you can't fear death because Yahawah is also your Father too, right? You know, when you look at it that way, you can go, oh, okay, your Father won't let you die. He ain't gonna let you fall. It's your Father, right? Our Father who's art in heaven. Who's our Father? It's talking about the Israelites. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, right? Our Father. So you have to give yourself a spiritual pep talk. I'm speaking to myself first because I definitely need it. I've been going through a lot spiritually and battling within myself, but I'm battling to keep pushing to do the work. Because there's something in me all the time that's trying to stop me from doing this work. But I'm going to keep pushing. You know, it's constantly getting at me, but I'm going to keep pushing. It says, but the very hairs of your head are all numbered. See, and you have to remember that. Spiritual pep talk. All your hairs on your head is numbered. Yahawah is your Father. He's numbered your head. You can't be fearing death, right? But the point is that the Lord has control over all this. Is ultimately what I was trying to point out. But that's a good spiritual pep talk. Remember that Yahawah, or Abanawa Yahawah, is your Father. He's the Father. You know? Yeah. Come back right here to finish up. I'm gonna do this joint in the Amplified. It says Deuteronomy 32 and 39. Amplified. See now that I am he, and there is no God or power, right, beside me, right? He's above all. You know what I'm saying? Right? That's Yahawah, that's the Father. And it is I who put to death, and I who give life. Whoo. I have wounded, whoo, and it is I who heal, and there is no one who can deliver you from the power of my hand. Right? You know? Yeah, so this is Matthew chapter 7, verse 24. It says, therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, you got to keep doing it. You got to keep doing the work, right? I will liken him unto a wise man that buildeth his house, right? Because that's what we're doing. We're building upon other men's labor. You just got to keep building. Built his house upon a rock, and and the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock, which is Yahawashi, right? And that's, I did that for, just saying you got to have that faith. But then look what happened to these people. They build their houses in a wash area, not really stay at any time. It could have rained like that, but now that there's extra rain, it's literally washing people's houses down the river, down the way. But the main thing is what? Having the Lord, because you can lose everything at any particular time. And imagine losing it on the folly day, right? For these people, they hold that day high. You see the little thing. I really wish there was a white Christmas. I still want to. People are losing their lives. People are losing everything that they ever had, and these people, they just want a white Christmas, right? Hey. Yeah, so this is Genesis chapter 7, verse 4. For yet 7 days I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, right? And every living substance every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth, right? He made alive first, and then he killed because he decided to, he wanted to, right? And then what it says, and Noah did according to all that Yahawah commanded him, right? And it just said, Yahawashi just said that he will liken you unto a wise man that buildeth his house upon what? A rock. If you do all these things that he said for you to do, or these commandments, these law, statute, command that he tell you to do, you'll be like a wise man. And that's basically what Noah was. Noah was a wise man to do all that Yahawah have commanded him. Yeah, this is 2nd Esdras chapter 4, verse 49. It says, after this there passed by before me a watery cloud, and sent down much rain with a storm, Salakia. And when the stormy rain was past, the drops remain still, right? Dealing with that, all that water, the rain went by and all that water's still there. Now, people are out there drowning, right? Right? Going through all sorts of conditions, right? The Lord's raining on your parade, so to speak, right? On your what's that? On your Christmas, yeah, right? Because I believe that Christmas or the Saint Nick is really like a demon, right? Raining on your demon, you know. And all you people, you on that demon time anyway, right? Celebrating this madness, these heathenistic holidays, right? Matter of fact, I guess I'll finish with that one. Says, then said he unto me, consider with thyself, as the rain is more than the drops, and as the fire is greater than the smoke, but the drops and the smoke remain behind. Ooh, whoa, right? You know, because you know, all that water washed away things. The water's still there. It's up to chest level, right? It still remains, right? You have a house, and sometimes it's not even the fire that does a lot of damage. It's sometimes it could be just the smoke or the soot that goes into the walls, and it really damages the house. You can get smoke damage, you know. But and it says where was I at? Oh yeah, remain behind, so that the quantity. Wow, yeah, see, a lot of fire. I mean, a lot of water and lots of fire, right? Which is past, did more exceed, right? It's still there. Did a lot of work, did a lot of damage, right? Then I prayed and said, may I live. And that's ultimately what you people should have been thinking about, man. Right? Way before, you don't wait till tragedy happened. But even then, a lot of you people, you're not, with all these things going on, no one's persuaded to really follow the Lord, right? Right? And you Edomites are still the Edomites, because it's proven. You got the AI Atlas, right? Because the thing I was just popped up said they had another UFO report sighting. So the Lord have angels pop up everywhere. There's all sorts of things happening. What it says, radiation, fog, rain. You know what I'm saying? All sorts of crazy stuff is happening, but nobody is seeking the Lord, right? It shows you. But I pray. Then I prayed and said, may I live. Thinkest thou until that time? Right? Because you think you don't wait until the time something happens. Until that time, right? Or what shall happen when in those days? See, once you ain't praying now before calamity happens to you, so that way you're spiritually prepared, and then the Lord could save your life, right? That way, maybe you'll live in that time. Great heavy rain or fire, something happens, right? You could live. Yeah. So this is Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which Yahawah spake unto you, O house of Israel, right? Which we know now. You can't get to the Father without going through the Son, Yahawashi. That's the reason why he was saying it in that manner. He said, you'll be in my hand, and I'll place you in the Father's hand, and no one can snatch you out of the Father's hand, because you have to go through Yahawashi to get to the Father's hand. You have to be in Yahawashi's hand first, and then you can get to then you could be within the hands of the Father. It says, thus saith Yahawah, BaHaSham Yahawashi, BaHaSham QaDash, learn not the way of the heathen, right? And that's exactly what you people are doing, because what did the Lord say? Do all these things, do all my statutes, and I will liken you to a wise man, right? That's what Yahawashi said. I will liken you to a wise man that buildeth his house upon a rock, if you listen, right? But what do? This is what the Lord said. Learn not the ways of the heathens, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. And that's what they are. They're tripping about AI Atlas. They got this, what was it? Thanksgiving. Now they got their Christmas in a couple of days. But the Lord is judging, right? And you would think people would consider, like I said, you got the floods. You never seen a flood like that. State to state to state, and then more rain is coming, right? And that people ain't looking at all these different things. You got the weirdest administration that ever been presidency at any presidency. When you hear that all of a sudden that this guy was fellatio another ex-president. These are things, if it happened, you never heard of these things, right? These are unfound things that you've ever even heard of when you're dealing with a president, right? Then you got these all sorts of stuff, man. You got the micro C-hip, you got the being pushed, the digital, or at least the digital, which is leading to the micro C-hip, right? The digital wallet, or digital ID, they're forcing on everybody, which we know that's leading to that mark, the Karagma, the Karax, the Grapho. You got all these signs and things that's happening, and people are just walking around like nothing, right? Hey, but instead of listening, what you learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain, right? Vain BS. There's no spiritual growth out of it, right? There's nothing you can get out of that at all. But especially if you're an Israelite, because all you can get judged, right? Because it's a sin. That's what you can get out of it, and that's what normally happens. That's why this time of year there's be all sorts of unalivings, right? Matter of fact, I was reading one not too long. Some guy was in an argument with his lady, and she calls so-called 911, and he grabs the phone and throws it off the balcony, and then he kills her. He unalives her, right? This is the time that things are actually happening. But hey, Let's keep playing games. Let's not ask the Lord for forgiveness. Not thinkest thou that, dang, what shall I do when these days come upon me? I'm going to pray that I may be alive, that I may please the Lord. That way you will be alive. Or if you don't be alive, you know that you're in a good place because you did what was pleasing to the Most High, Yahawah BaHaSham. For the customs of the people are vain, for one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with an axe, right? They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails that it move. They fasten it with nails so that way it doesn't move, right? And that's the same thing you have with they got like a little thing now where you can set it in and it has 3 legs, so it can sit in there. And sometimes people go get real trees, right? They don't have the fake tree, they have the real tree, so they sit it down into a thing where it sits into some water so that it doesn't just dry up, right? Because it's not alive anymore, because now it's not in the root. You know what I mean? And why would you want to do? Because basically it's dead. So why would you want something dead in your house? That's why the Lord said, I am the God of the living, not of the dead. That tree is, without the root, that tree is dead. So why would you have these things like that? They deck it with silver and with gold and fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. Right, exactly. They are upright as the palm tree, right? But speak not. Right? They must need to be born because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good, right? It's just a tree, right? You tell us no spooky stuff like, if you don't do this to this tree, it's gonna get you, it's gonna curse you, it's gonna do all these things to you. You better do, you like, oh shit, I better. But that's the way of the heathen. Come up with some nonsense, and now they don't even do that no more. They just say, oh, it's for the kids. It's a fun thing. It's just fun. But it's not fun, right? So with all that, I'm gonna go ahead and, that's why you're getting destroyed, right? So, getting judged. So judgment on Egypt, spiritual Egypt, known as Babylon, daughter of Babylon, America, right? So with all that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahawah, BaHaSham, Yahawashi, BaHaSham, Rawchaa QaDash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well, to the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom, to your sisters, your yahawah, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence and above all, Kwam Yasharallah.